Now, I think the whole Paul George situation is currently going on. It's quite comical, in my opinion, at least. Now he wants to leave LA. I think he said on his own show, and all this stuff's been coming out for the last few weeks now, even before. I think it was right after they got kicked out by the Mavericks. It was talking about him going to the 76ers. But I'm going to tell you how I feel about that. But before then, welcome to the channel, Franchise Sports TV, back again with another video. Paul George, man. Paul George. Paul George is such a hilarious case of. I got nothing against Paul George. I like him as a player, especially when he was on Indiana. But ever since he's gotten to the Clippers, it hasn't worked. It hasn't worked for the Clippers. They've been a joke. They've been a joke. Him and Kawhi have been a joke. And the joke got even funnier this year with the addition of James Harden. So now you have 4 LA dudes on one team. And the Clippers out here thinking, yeah, this is going to work. We got 4 LA dudes, right? They all played around the same time in high school with each other, right? I mean, against each other, right? Almost in the same year. I think Paul George is from Ponda, which is north of LA. I think James Harden, Westbrook are from LA. And Kawhi went to high school not too far from where I went to high school, out in Riverside. But anyways, it didn't work. It's not working. Now Paul George wants out. And then you get these rumors of him. Now, Paul George is interested in the Warriors, Knicks, and also 76ers as of June 24th. And the Golden State Warriors got issues of their own dealing with Klay Thompson. But I guess they want to play a part in the Paul George sweepstakes, which, once again, similar to similar to Klay Thompson. 34 years old, my guy. 34 years old. He ain't 24 years old. But reading this article from Bleacher Report, a website I don't respect anymore after that last video I did a couple days ago. The Golden State Warriors are surely looking to make a splash this offseason after losing in the play-in tournament. I forgot he was in the play-in tournament. I didn't even know they was in. I don't even remember them being in the play-in tournament. But anyways, it's been so long ago. It's almost been 2-3 months ago now. And that splash may come in the form of Paul George. NBA insider Mark Stein reported there is a growing feeling that Paul George will exercise his $48.8 million player option for next season in an effort to force the Los Angeles Clippers to then trade him, since they have been unable to come to terms on a contract extension. Here's the thing about that. Does he really deserve a contract extension? The Clippers only had one probably semi-successful year, and that was in 2021 when they went to Western Conference Finals against the Phoenix Suns and lost in 6. They also lost Kawhi Leonard second round against Utah to I think it's now reported a torn ACL. First report was partially torn. But these guys really got to recognize who they are. Now, Paul George, for the most part, since he's been on the Clippers, he's been semi-healthy. He hasn't had any big injuries. He hasn't even had any big injuries in almost 10 years since he had that devastating fall in that USA scrimmage game in Vegas 10 years ago. But since then, he hasn't been terribly injured. But still, performance-wise, some games he's hitting on all cylinders. In some games, he's hitting the side of the backboard, forcing the issue, like he did against the Mavericks. He was just forcing everything. But anyways, let's keep going. In such a scenario, Stein suggested the Warriors and New York Knicks, who are freaking desperate for anybody, it seems like, even though I think they got a squad in itself, are potential suitors. He noted Golden State might be even more interested than New York, and would likely have to put together a multi-team trade to make it happen. But then again, Golden State would have to sign a lot of money for Paul George afterwards, would they? And it seems like they don't want to sign that much for Klay Thompson, it seems like. Anyways, as a GM, I would not sign any player 34 years old based on the season they had previously to a lot of money. Now, if they at 34 years old and they hadn't missed a beat really yet, then yeah. But anyways, Golden State may have to trade Chris Paul to land George. Dang, wouldn't that be the irony? But they would have to trade Chris Paul to land George, as he's set to make $30 million, Chris Paul, in base salary during the upcoming campaign, and would clear up some space for the team to potentially add an impact player like George. The Warriors are also likely to focus on Klay Thompson. Yeah, that seems like, are they trying to fix for two 34-year-olds? I don't know, man. Moving on, the Warriors are likely. Oh yeah, that's right there. The franchise legend is a free agent this offseason, Klay Thompson. Although ESPN Tim McMahon recently reported a team offered him a 2-year deal. You know what? He should take that. Add in George and bringing back Thompson will be quite the offseason for Golden State, which is surely looking to at least make one more championship run with the core of Curry, Thompson, Draymond, and Green all still together. I said Draymond Green. Why did they do that? Just whatever. Paul George will be quite the wing player alongside Curry and Thompson. Shooting combination, he is talented to take a full advantage of the spacing created by the defensive attention Splash Brothers draw. He is also a formidable defender who can take some of the responsibility off the guard's shoulders at the end of the floor. I don't know about that. See, here's the problem. I like to stick up for my fellow 34-year-olds. But at the same time, as I said in the previous video by Klay Thompson, we ain't 24 no more. They forming this team, like Golden State was to do this, forming this team, they'll be an old-ass team. Though they do have some young pieces, but your core is old as hell. I feel like this would be it'd be basically the Clippers part 2. Oh, these guys are old. And they're going to get ran off the floor. They're going to get ran off the floor by the Dallas Mavericks, OKC, Minnesota. Shoot, even Houston's coming up. Memphis Grizzlies, they'll be back. Depending on what they do in the offseason, but they'll be back because John Morant's coming back. I don't know about this team, man. What you guys think? All right, continue on. George's resume includes 6 All-NBA selections, 4 All-Defensive Selection, 9 All-Star 9. He averaged 21 points per game each of the last 9 seasons and will make a perfect piece. Age and durability may be something of a concern since George is 34 years old, but he played 74 games last season. He did do that. If he could stay healthy, he could end up with the first championship of his career if the Warriors land him in a trade. Yeah, I don't think that's going to happen. Yeah, I don't think this is a good idea. Let's say the Bucks was interested in Klay Thompson or Paul George, I would tell them don't make that trade. Don't make that deal. You need to get younger. But Paul George has also been connected to the 76ers. There was even talks of Clippers trading for Sixers trading for Paul George in return. Clippers get back Tobias Harris, which has been terrible for this 76ers. But Paul George going to the 76ers would not change anything at all. It wouldn't. Same outcome. He don't change his mindset when it comes to where he's at in the NBA. Change his game a little bit. And then also you have to rely on the health of Joel Embiid too. Because this season, how many games he missed? Like 20 to 30 games this season with an injury. This time, hopefully, coming into the season, he'll probably be in shape because he'll be playing in the Olympics. You would think. Um, but the shining spot for the 76ers is Tyrese Maxey. That's also one of the younger stars too. But um, I just feel Paul George had to change his game a little bit. He had to do something a little bit different. What you've been doing before for the last 4 years on the Clippers is not working. Barring that he did have injuries with himself and Kawhi Leonard. This year alone tells me that this ain't working. It probably would never work for the Clippers. Um, I don't know. Paul George gonna have to take a back seat to someone. If he goes to the 76ers, give it more to Tyrese Maxey. Maybe it can work, or maybe it just won't work at all. But some things gonna have to change with both Klay Thompson and Paul George, playing wise, because they ain't the same players as they once were, I should say. But it should be interesting how free agency should be in the next couple of days, how the draft is gonna go down. I'm sure some things will change after this video has been put on YouTube, especially after the draft. See how certain teams draft. The only team I'm really concerned about is my Milwaukee Bucks. They need to make the right draft picks and right free agent signings, because last year was smoke and mirrors, was basically I got you moment. Trading away Jrue Holiday, which is probably, I think, I'm trying to think of all the people. It's 34 years old right now. Class of '08, probably won't shoot. Probably the best out of all the 34-year-olds that's still in the league. Not because he won a championship, he's just been there. He's just been hooping. But then again, he doesn't have to be the first option. And it's worked out for him for the last 4 seasons now. Winning 2 championships in 4 seasons. It has worked out for Jrue Holiday. Another thing I wanted to add to this as well, that the Clippers and Warriors have to be concerned about, as far as every other team as well, is I think DeMar DeRozan is a free agent too. So that's another member of Class of '08 from California that's going to be considered. What's going to happen with him as well? So free agency should be interesting. It really should be, to see where Paul George and Klay Thompson will land. Even, like I said, DeMar DeRozan himself. But anyways, tell me what you guys think.